The rain fell gently that night, whispering secrets to the quiet streets of Willow Creek, as a lone German shepherd moved silently through shadows, his amber eyes searching desperately for help he feared might never come. Have you ever wondered what a dog might say, if he could tell us what's weighing on his heart? Before we uncover Apollo's incredible journey, take a moment to let us know in the comments where you're listening from. Because tonight we're all connected by one dog's silent cry for hope. Rain dripped steadily from the midnight sky, weaving a soft curtain over Willow Creek, turning streetlights into hazy halos of golden mist. Beneath one such halo, Apollo, an aged German shepherd, padded wearily through puddles, his fur soaked and tangled, its rich black and tan colors faded by hardship and neglect. His once strong and proud frame now appeared thin, ribs pressing visibly against his wet coat, yet his eyes, deep and amber, glowed faintly with quiet resilience, telling stories of devotion betrayed and loyalty discarded. As Apollo wandered slowly along the deserted streets, each window he passed was darkened, a silent reminder that warmth and comfort were meant for others, not a stray, forgotten creature like him. Occasionally, he paused to sniff hopefully near the doorsteps of closed shops or beneath awnings where the scent of humans lingered. Yet each place was the same, cold, empty, unwelcoming. Humans had chased him away so many times that Apollo had learned not to expect kindness anymore. He carried those memories heavily, etched into his body like invisible scars. Apollo was about to give up, preparing himself to find shelter beneath the hollow trunk of a nearby willow tree, when his ears perked up suddenly. Faint but unmistakable, through the gentle patter of rain, came the delicate sound of crying, a fragile, almost inaudible whimper drifting toward him like a whisper from the darkness. Apollo froze, ears fully alert, his heart beating quicker with instinctive urgency. The sound pierced through the fog of his exhaustion, awakening something deep inside, an ancestral call that tugged irresistibly at his soul. Turning swiftly toward the sound, Apollo trotted forward, ignoring the sharp ache in his aging joints, driven now by an instinct older and stronger than pain. He quickly reached the edge of the road, where the grass grew tall and wild beside a dense thicket. The cries grew louder, yet more desperate, guiding Apollo's steps into the brush, thorns tugging cruelly at his fur as he pressed deeper into the tangled shadows. There, amidst the wet leaves and mud, Apollo found the tiny source of those mournful cries, a newborn baby wrapped loosely in a thin, rain-soaked blanket. The child's skin was pale and bluish, shivering from the relentless cold, tiny fists clenched in helpless protest against the unfairness of its welcome to the world. Apollo's heart twisted painfully in his chest. In those trembling cries, he heard echoes of his own abandonment, the agony of being unwanted, unheard, and utterly alone. Carefully, with infinite gentleness, Apollo lowered himself beside the infant, attempting to shield the fragile little body from the storm. The rain continued, relentless, dripping off his fur and mingling with tears he couldn't shed. For a moment, Apollo hesitated, unsure how to help further. He had no voice humans understood, no words to call for aid. All he had was his will, battered but unbroken, and a bond he instantly formed with the innocent soul beside him, as vulnerable and alone as he had once been. The baby's soft cries began to weaken, fading gradually into silence. Apollo knew there was no time to waste. Summoning every ounce of strength left in his tired, neglected body, he lifted himself gently, eyes blazing with fierce determination. He nudged the child softly, ensuring its safety as he turned back toward the road, preparing to find someone, anyone, who might hear their silent plea for rescue. His every step now had meaning, each aching movement fueled by hope and a newfound purpose. Apollo, the forgotten, abandoned guardian, now had a soul to protect, a tiny life entrusted unknowingly to his weary paws. Through the rain-streaked windshield, Lucas Turner squinted, straining to see clearly along the slippery roads of Willow Creek. At 38, Lucas carried the steady confidence that came from over a decade of emergency medical experience, his short brown hair peppered prematurely with flecks of silver. Despite the tension etched permanently in his strong jawline, His green eyes often revealed a deep compassion that comforted even the most frightened patients. Beside him sat Emma Grant, a nurse who had just turned 28. With soft blonde curls tied hurriedly into a loose bun and thoughtful blue eyes that always seemed to seek answers, Emma exuded a calming presence, even amidst chaos. Fresh out of nursing school 3 years prior, she had quickly earned respect for her gentle yet resolute manner during emergencies. Tonight, however, Emma felt an uneasy weight on her shoulders as the patient in the back lay critical, every second precious. Lucas tightened his grip on the wheel as the ambulance navigated the winding rural road, the sirens muted slightly by the thickening fog. "We're almost there," he assured Emma quietly, glancing toward her briefly. She nodded without speaking, her eyes fixed anxiously on the patient monitor mounted to the side. Without warning, Lucas slammed the brakes, the ambulance skidding briefly on the wet pavement before jerking abruptly to a stop. Emma gasped, catching herself against the dashboard, her heart pounding fiercely. "What's happening?" she asked sharply, turning to Lucas, confusion evident on her pale face. "There's something in the road," Lucas answered tersely, leaning forward and peering through the swirling mist. Illuminated by the ambulance headlights stood Apollo, soaked and trembling but defiantly immobile, his amber eyes fiercely fixed upon the vehicle before him. His body blocked their path completely, his expression a mixture of desperation and determination. Emma's first instinct was worry. "Lucas, we can't delay the patient." "I know," Lucas said tensely, shifting slightly in his seat. He honked the horn sharply, but Apollo remained resolutely unmoving, his gaze steady, pleading, somehow reaching beyond words. Lucas's hand hovered over the gear shift uncertainly. There was something about the dog's stance that made him hesitate. Emma peered closer, noticing the dog's scruffy appearance and the way his ribs protruded beneath the damp fur. "Lucas, look at him," she murmured softly, her voice filled with sudden compassion. "He looks like he's been abandoned. Maybe he's hurt or needs help." Lucas frowned, torn between duty and empathy. "We don't have time, Emma. Someone could die back there." Yet Apollo seemed to sense their conflict, taking a cautious but firm step forward, barking urgently, desperately. It was a sound filled with purpose, not aggression, a cry for help rather than a threat. Lucas stared into those pleading amber eyes, his resolve faltering rapidly. "I can't just leave him there," Emma whispered firmly, already unbuckling her seatbelt, ignoring Lucas's protest. She stepped out into the drizzle, the cold rain immediately soaking her navy scrubs as she approached Apollo cautiously, her hand gently extended. "Hey boy, what's wrong? What are you trying to show us?" Apollo didn't move toward her but glanced quickly into the dense brush, lining the road, barking insistently once more. Emma paused, listening intently, and then her heart nearly stopped. Through the rain, she caught the faint, fragile whimper of the infant Apollo had protected moments ago. "Oh my God," Emma whispered, turning sharply toward Lucas, her face pale. "There's a baby out here." Instantly, Lucas was beside her, his professional instincts overriding any previous hesitation. He grabbed a flashlight from the ambulance and followed Apollo's anxious pacing to the brush. There, beneath tangled leaves and branches, lay the tiny, shivering child, fragile and heartbreakingly vulnerable. Emma quickly gathered the infant into her arms, her eyes filling with tears of relief and shock. "Lucas, he's freezing. We need blankets, warmth, oxygen, quickly." Lucas nodded urgently, already moving to help her back to the ambulance, the patient inside temporarily overshadowed by this new emergency. Apollo watched anxiously, pacing as the child was gently placed onto the gurney inside, his soulful eyes filled with hope and quiet gratitude. Emma reached out to Apollo briefly, her hand gently stroking his wet head. "You saved a life tonight," she whispered emotionally, her voice barely audible over the rain. Apollo leaned into her gentle touch, his weary heart briefly finding comfort in her kindness. As the ambulance doors closed, Apollo remained standing in the rain, watching the vehicle drive away toward the safety and warmth he longed for himself. His mission had been accomplished, yet a lingering emptiness settled in his chest. Once again, he was alone in the dark, forgotten. Yet tonight, Apollo knew something important had shifted. For once, Humans had truly seen him, and for that, despite everything else, he felt a quiet sense of peace. Inside the ambulance, Emma gently cradled the tiny infant, wrapping him securely in warm, sterile blankets, her hands trembling slightly with the gravity of the moment. The baby's fragile breaths came shallow and labored, each small movement a delicate balance between survival and vulnerability. Lucas, his brow furrowed in deep concentration, quickly adjusted the oxygen mask, placing it softly over the infant's pale face. Neither of them spoke, yet their shared glance conveyed everything: the urgency, the anxiety, and the hope that still lingered somewhere beneath it all. Outside, Apollo stood motionless on the edge of the rain-slicked road, watching as the ambulance's lights faded slowly into the misty night. The sharp ache of loss settled heavily in his chest once more. Yet this time, an unfamiliar sense of determination stirred within him. Something compelled him forward, and without hesitation, he broke into a steady, purposeful trot, following the distant glow of the taillights through puddles and shadows, unwilling to lose sight of the infant he had fought so desperately to protect. At Willow Creek General Hospital, the emergency doors slid open swiftly, a flurry of medical staff rushing to meet Lucas and Emma as they carefully transferred the infant to a waiting stretcher. Dr. Rebecca Allen, a respected pediatrician in her mid-40s with auburn hair pulled back neatly and compassionate hazel eyes that seemed perpetually calm, immediately stepped forward, her presence bringing reassurance amidst the chaos. With practiced efficiency, she began examining the infant, gently probing, her expression solemn yet steady. Emma stepped back, feeling suddenly exhausted, her heart heavy with both relief and sorrow. Her gaze drifted toward the entrance, and there she noticed Apollo, his fur soaked and matted, standing anxiously by the sliding doors, his large amber eyes filled with unmistakable concern. A security guard approached the dog, preparing to usher him away, but Emma quickly intervened, stepping outside into the cold air. "Wait," she pleaded softly to the guard, whose name tag read, Bill, a burly man nearing retirement age, usually strict yet kind-hearted. He hesitated, clearly conflicted. "This dog saved a baby tonight," she continued quietly, her voice cracking slightly. "He's not dangerous, he's just trying to protect someone he cares about." Bill paused, studying Apollo thoughtfully, then nodded gently and stepped aside. Emma knelt slowly, offering her hand to Apollo, who cautiously approached her, tail low but wagging hesitantly. Her touch was gentle, soothing his trembling form, silently conveying the gratitude she couldn't fully express in words. Meanwhile, Lucas spoke quietly with Dr. Allen inside the emergency room, providing details about the child's discovery. The doctor listened intently, her expression deeply moved. "It's a miracle," she finally whispered, shaking her head softly. "Without that dog, this child wouldn't have stood a chance." Lucas glanced toward the entrance, seeing Emma gently stroking Apollo's soaked fur, a faint smile touching his lips despite the night's grim events. Apollo's dedication had deeply touched him, revealing something profoundly beautiful amidst tragedy. Minutes later, Dr. Allen emerged from the treatment area, her expression cautiously hopeful. "The baby's stabilizing," she announced quietly. Emma and Lucas exchanged a relieved look, their shared tension easing slightly. Apollo, seemingly sensing the shift, sat obediently beside Emma, his ears perked attentively toward the doctor's calming voice. "But we'll need to monitor closely, Doctor," Allen continued. "And we'll have to involve Child Protective Services. Whoever left that infant out there was either desperate or dangerously careless. This child deserves better." Emma nodded silently, glancing down at Apollo, whose gentle gaze remained locked onto the emergency room doors, as if vigilantly guarding the baby from afar. His devotion, despite his own hardships and abandonment, resonated deeply with her, making her heart ache with compassion for the courageous dog beside her. Apollo seemed to understand that, for now, his task had been fulfilled. He lowered himself to the ground beside Emma, head resting heavily upon his front paws, eyes filled with both exhaustion and quiet contentment. He had done his part. He had protected the most vulnerable among them. Now, As the rain softened to a drizzle, Apollo allowed himself a rare moment of peace, trusting that the humans around him would carry forward what he had started. Yet, deep within Apollo's weary heart, a quiet hope lingered, a hope that perhaps tonight's act of bravery would finally earn him the acceptance and love he had yearned for his entire life. As dawn broke gently over Willow Creek, Emma quietly unlocked her modest, white-painted house and opened the door, motioning Apollo inside. The German shepherd hesitated briefly, eyes flickering with uncertainty, before carefully stepping over the threshold. His ears flattened slightly, tail lowered in submission, memories of past rejections clearly etched into his cautious demeanor. Emma knelt softly beside him, her gentle voice murmuring reassurance. "You're safe now, Apollo. This is your home, for as long as you need." Inside, the house radiated warmth and simplicity, reflecting Emma's personality, calm, tidy, and inviting. Framed family photos lined the mantelpiece, capturing her small-town upbringing and the closeness she cherished. Apollo glanced around warily, as if expecting harsh voices or angry hands to emerge from the shadows, but found only a comforting stillness. Slowly, he allowed himself to relax, his tense muscles easing beneath the soothing strokes of Emma's careful hands. Throughout the day, Emma tended gently to Apollo's needs, carefully cleaning his matted fur, discovering numerous scars hidden beneath his thick coat, silent testimonies to his suffering. Her heart broke quietly with each new revelation of past cruelty, yet Apollo endured every moment patiently, trusting her touch with gentle acceptance. By evening, after feeding Apollo his first warm meal in perhaps weeks, Emma sank wearily onto her sofa, Apollo settling hesitantly at her feet, his amber eyes still watchful yet cautiously hopeful. The doorbell chimed softly, startling Apollo, whose ears perked alertly as Emma moved quickly toward the entrance. Lucas stood outside, his hands shoved nervously into the pockets of his faded jeans, the early evening light casting gentle shadows across his thoughtful face. "Hey," he greeted softly, stepping inside. Apollo's tail wagged tentatively at the familiar scent, recognizing Lucas's kindness from the previous night. "How's our brave rescuer doing?" Lucas asked, smiling gently down at the dog, whose eyes brightened slightly at the warmth in his voice. Together, Emma and Lucas sat quietly in the living room, Apollo curled between them on the soft rug, seemingly comforted by their peaceful presence. Lucas had brought along some old veterinary records, unearthed after recognizing a faded identification tattoo on Apollo's ear during the emergency rescue. As Emma gently leafed through the papers, her expression darkened with each new detail revealed. "He was owned by someone named Tyler Barnes," Lucas explained gently. Apparently, Barnes had multiple complaints filed against him for animal neglect and abuse, but somehow managed to keep Apollo hidden whenever officials visited. Lucas paused, glancing at Apollo with quiet admiration. "It says here Apollo escaped twice, but was always returned. Finally, Barnes abandoned him completely when he moved away." Emma's eyes filled with tears as she softly stroked Apollo's ears, overwhelmed by the tragic past that had shaped this gentle, loyal soul. Apollo lifted his head slowly, sensing Emma's emotions, and licked her hand softly, as if silently reassuring her. "How could anyone be so cruel to such a sweet animal?" Emma whispered, her voice heavy with sorrow. Lucas shook his head solemnly, understanding her anguish. Apollo shifted closer to Lucas, resting his head on the man's knee, quietly seeking comfort. Lucas felt a sudden, profound connection, a bond forged from empathy and shared understanding of life's quiet hardships. He gently scratched behind Apollo's ears, silently promising never to let him face suffering again. After several moments of thoughtful silence, Lucas glanced meaningfully at Emma, his expression resolute yet tender. "We can't change what happened to Apollo," he murmured gently, "but we can make sure he knows real love and kindness from now on." Emma nodded, her heart swelling with determination and compassion. "You're right," she agreed softly, glancing down at Apollo with newfound resolve. "He deserves a home where he's valued and protected." Apollo raised his gaze to meet Emma's eyes, as if comprehending her words, his amber eyes shining softly in the fading light, hopeful and trusting once more. Later that evening, as Lucas quietly left the house, Emma sat beside Apollo on the worn sofa, the soft glow from a table lamp illuminating the gentle calmness of her face. Apollo rested comfortably beside her, his breathing deep and peaceful, finally free from fear. Emma stroked his fur softly, feeling her own heart gradually heal alongside Apollo's. Though scars remained, both visible and hidden, a new story had begun, one defined not by past cruelty but by the boundless love and loyalty Apollo had silently carried within himself all along. Days slowly passed, gently healing wounds both visible and unseen in the quiet town of Willow Creek. Inside the softly lit nursery of Willow Creek General Hospital, the rescued infant steadily grew stronger, tiny fists now gripping with newfound strength, each breath coming easily and steadily. The story of his miraculous rescue had rapidly spread throughout the community, reaching even the quietest corners of the town, stirring hearts and awakening long-forgotten kindness in everyone it touched. Meanwhile, the police investigation led by Officer Mike Reynolds, a seasoned officer in his early 50s known for his calm manner and empathetic eyes, quickly identified the mother, a 19-year-old named Jenna Carter, a slender, frightened young woman with short brown hair and haunted blue eyes that had seen far too much hardship for her age. Officer Reynolds found her staying in a rundown motel at the outskirts of town, her pale face tear-streaked, hands trembling in shame and sorrow. Jenna had been left alone after her boyfriend disappeared, leaving her scared, penniless, and completely overwhelmed, leading to the heartbreaking decision to abandon her child out of sheer desperation. As Jenna shared her story with Officer Reynolds, her anguish poured forth, raw and genuine, filled with regret and pain. Her sincerity deeply moved him, prompting him to offer compassion and understanding rather than judgment. Jenna accepted help gratefully, willingly agreeing to counseling and community support services, her heart heavy but hopeful for a chance at redemption and reunion with her child someday. In the wake of these revelations, Willow Creek residents rallied around both the infant and Jenna, their collective compassion uniting a community once divided by indifference. Yet, it was Apollo who captured the hearts and imagination of the townspeople most profoundly, his bravery and unwavering devotion inspiring acts of kindness and generosity rarely witnessed before. Local news featured Apollo prominently, headlines praising the noble dog who had saved an innocent life, transforming him overnight from a forgotten stray into the town's beloved hero. One crisp autumn afternoon, the community gathered in the Central Park, vibrant leaves softly carpeting the ground beneath a clear, cerulean sky, to formally honor Apollo's heroic actions. Town Mayor Linda Ferguson, a dignified woman in her late 50s with silver-streaked dark hair, neatly pinned back, and a voice full of warm authority, stood smiling warmly as she officially presented Apollo with a special award for bravery. Apollo, with freshly groomed black and tan fur shining in the golden sunlight, sat quietly beside Emma and Lucas, his amber eyes calmly taking in the crowd that now surrounded him with genuine warmth. Emma's eyes glistened with pride and affection, her hand resting gently on Apollo's back, feeling the gentle rise and fall of his breathing beneath her touch. Lucas, standing close beside them, watched the ceremony quietly, his heart full of quiet gratitude. They had both witnessed Apollo's quiet courage firsthand, yet seeing the entire community now acknowledging his worth filled them with profound joy and relief. As Mayor Ferguson concluded her speech, a small group of local children, their faces bright with admiration, stepped forward to drape a colorful garland around Apollo's neck, handmade from autumn leaves, flowers, and ribbons. Apollo's tail wagged gently in response, his previously cautious eyes now sparkling with a newfound trust, deeply moved by this simple yet heartfelt gesture. Among the children stood little Tommy Adams, an energetic 6-year-old with tousled red hair and a perpetually mischievous grin, who leaned in close, whispering softly into Apollo's ear, "You're the best dog ever." Apollo gently licked Tommy's cheek in grateful acknowledgement, his gesture met with delighted giggles and applause from the gathered crowd. From that moment onward, Apollo became an inseparable part of Willow Creek's everyday life, his gentle presence welcomed warmly everywhere, from bustling coffee shops to quiet family gatherings. Emma and Lucas continued to care lovingly for Apollo, their bond with him growing deeper and stronger each passing day, fueled by mutual trust and affection. For Apollo, the wounds of past cruelty slowly faded into distant memories, overshadowed by the love and respect that now surrounded him daily. He walked taller, stronger, his spirit restored by the sincere kindness shown by those he had come to trust. Through Apollo's quiet, humble heroism, Willow Creek had rediscovered its heart, reminding everyone that healing often begins with acts of quiet courage and unconditional love. Winter gently settled over Willow Creek, blanketing streets and rooftops in soft layers of snow, turning the bustling town into a quiet, peaceful haven. Amid the serenity of that white landscape, Apollo rested comfortably near the warmth of Lucas Turner's fireplace, his black and tan fur softly illuminated by flickering flames. At long last, the aging German shepherd had found a place to call his own, surrounded by walls that held kindness instead of cruelty, warmth instead of neglect. For the first time, Apollo understood the true meaning of home. Lucas had officially adopted Apollo, welcoming him wholeheartedly into his modest, cozy house at the edge of town. With sturdy wooden furniture and photographs depicting cherished moments from Lucas's career as an emergency medic, the home reflected the quiet dignity and compassion of its owner. Apollo adored Lucas, instinctively drawn to his steady presence, finding comfort in Lucas's gentle strength. Lucas, in return, deeply respected Apollo's unwavering loyalty and quiet courage, recognizing in the old dog something deeply admirable and profoundly wise. Together, Lucas and Apollo developed routines that enriched both their lives. Each morning, they walked leisurely along snowy trails near the town's edge, Apollo padding quietly beside Lucas, occasionally pausing to sniff at the crisp, cold air, ears perked and eyes bright with curiosity. Passers-by frequently greeted them warmly, often stopping to stroke Apollo's soft fur or offer quiet thanks for his courageous rescue. The town's affectionate acknowledgement provided Apollo an enduring sense of belonging that warmed his heart even more than the cozy fireplace he cherished. Emma often visited Lucas's home, her presence bringing an additional layer of warmth and joy to Apollo's days. She and Lucas had grown close through shared compassion and purpose, inspired by Apollo's remarkable journey. On quiet evenings, as snowflakes drifted softly beyond frosted windows, Emma would sit beside Apollo on the comfortable sofa, gently scratching his ears while Lucas brewed cups of steaming tea. Their conversations frequently revolved around ways to help the community heal, inspired profoundly by the bravery and kindness Apollo had shown in saving the abandoned child. Over time, both Lucas and Emma realized Apollo had not only rescued a helpless infant, but had also taught the entire town a powerful lesson about compassion, empathy, and the quiet courage needed to heal wounds both visible and hidden. Motivated by Apollo's inspiring legacy, Emma volunteered regularly at community support centers, assisting vulnerable young mothers facing hardships like Jenna Carter had experienced. Lucas, moved by the community's overwhelming kindness toward Apollo, began mentoring local youths interested in careers in emergency medicine, guiding them with patience and wisdom, hopeful their compassion would continue to spread throughout Willow Creek. Years passed gently, Apollo aging gracefully within the comfort and care of Lucas's loving home. Though his muzzle turned white and his steps slowed with each passing winter, Apollo's gentle spirit and compassionate heart remained strong, a beacon of kindness and loyalty to all who knew him. He became a symbol of hope and healing within Willow Creek, his quiet bravery inspiring continued acts of generosity and understanding across generations. One peaceful winter afternoon, Apollo lay resting quietly by the fireplace, surrounded by Emma, Lucas, and Jenna Carter, who had finally reunited lovingly with her son, now a healthy, spirited little boy named Samuel. Jenna's grateful eyes frequently filled with tears as she gently stroked Apollo's now silver-tipped fur, whispering softly, "Thank you for saving us both, Apollo." Apollo's amber eyes looked at her warmly, understanding the gratitude and love flowing from her heart. As Apollo breathed his last peaceful breath many months later, Lucas and Emma held him gently, their tears quietly mingling with memories of his courageous and beautiful life. Yet beneath their grief lay deep gratitude, for Apollo had transformed their hearts, their lives, and their community forever. Willow Creek mourned the loss of their beloved hero, yet celebrated Apollo's enduring legacy with heartfelt stories passed from neighbor to neighbor, generation to generation. In a small park near Lucas's home, beneath a sturdy oak tree, the townspeople placed a simple stone marker etched with the words, Apollo, guardian, hero, friend. There, in quiet moments, townspeople paused regularly, recalling the gentle German shepherd who had taught them to listen deeply, to care bravely, and above all, to heal compassionately. Apollo, the quiet guardian whose journey had begun in solitude and sorrow, left behind a town forever changed by the simple, powerful truth of unconditional love. Through the warmth of Lucas's fireplace, in the quiet strength of Emma's friendship, and within the hopeful eyes of a small boy named Samuel, Apollo's spirit lived on, gently reminding everyone in Willow Creek that true healing begins with listening, caring, and opening our hearts. In the end, Apollo taught us that true loyalty isn't measured by words, but by quiet sacrifices and unconditional love that asks nothing in return. Perhaps we all have something to learn from the gentle heart of a dog. If Apollo's story touched you today, please consider joining our community, sharing your thoughts, and subscribing, so together we can continue celebrating stories of courage and kindness that remind us what truly matters in life.